Brooke from Pennsylvania, thank you for being here. I saw you on the listening session that Justin Brown, I guess he's the head of DEI at your school, which I cannot believe there's a diversity, equity, inclusion person at your school. And it was a great program. And it sounded like it was really a place to listen to Asian people who identify as Asian and hear what their upbringing was like and how they have felt. And I was also pleased that he's an African American to be sharing this space. And I think was there 10 students who shared?
I actually think that there had to have been more, at least 10. I know there was a lot of people who wanted to share that couldn't make it as well, which
Oh,
is even
great.
greater.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And there was teachers too. Can you tell me how this program originated?
Yeah. Mr. Brown had reached out to me in in need of Asian student representation and had me do some outreach to find other students that would be interested in, raising awareness and spreading acceptance in addition to the awareness that, we're people too, and we have this wonderful variety of cultures that need to be celebrated.
And why did he reach out to you?
So I knew him because I am the vice president of BSU. So I kind of dabble in
The
both
Black
communities. I'm Black.
Student Union?
Yes, Black Student Union. I'm both Black and Korean. And so I have known him since about mid February when he was introduced to me to work with him to help grow the Black community in the first place.
Do you I- do you know like how many at your school, how many people ish and like at my school that I grew up with, I think there was one black person. And then let's see, in elementary school, I think there's maybe one, maybe two in my elementary school, and maybe 10 Asians. So that was where I grew up. At your high school, do you know kind of, what the percentages are? It's just a guess.
Yeah, yeah. I would probably say it's it's still mostly white. I would probably say 30% Asian, and this covers all of Asia.
Yeah.
Because at my school, it's a magnet school in our district. You have to apply to get in, and they
Ah.
they consider race, gender, ethnicity to try to make it more inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not very. There's not many Black students there. I would say max 25 out of the. I think there's 800 kids at my school.
Yeah, so about 25, give or take, whatever.
Yeah,
Okay, that's actually a ton more than at my school. Um,
yeah.
and 30% Asian. So that is surprising because of all the voices that I heard. There was so much teasing, yet still with 30%, that's a lot. Okay, so how did this come together and why did you think this is important?
So I was given the information that there was going to be a listening session, um, and I didn't really know what it was about until Mr. Brown had explained it. It's a he called it a brave space, which I think is a really cool
Brave
term.
space.
Yeah, a brave space where you're allowed to
Yes.
be courageous,
Yep.
and I thought that was really cool. So he'd explained that to me, and I I think that he had this idea from the beginning because I think he did this before at other places where he had been employed. Um, and so basically, it kind of all happened at once, really. I can't really explain. It was just, hey, this is happening. And then we just started advertising, and the turnout was great. I think 96 people were there at one point in time, which is awesome.
And
So I
when
think
you reached out to Asian students, what did that sound like, and what did people say to you
actually
in
there was
general terms?
yeah, there was a lot of interest. Like I found I don't think I found any pushback with with whether it was if you wanted to speak or if you wanted to just sit and listen or if you wanted to advertise. Like it was just a general like, yes, let's do it, which is awesome because I think a lot of us feel the effects of the lack of representation within the faculty at our schools. So it's definitely it was there was a lot of motivation to get this done.
So why? So that's one of the reasons. Is there another reason why you said I need to recruit for this and I need to speak up myself?
Um, Actually, because up until this year, probably I didn't really feel comfortable personally speaking my mind. And even if I did, I didn't really have the words to. And now that I do, it's so eye opening. And now I have the ability to help other people like get there and reach that point before they think that they can. And just, encouraging more people to speak their mind and be able to express their opinions bravely and use the resources that they have to create their narrative and share their experiences.
When you were presenting yesterday, how did you feel when you were sharing and being vulnerable?
I think because again, I never really shared half of the stuff that I had talked about. I don't think I've ever really discussed with anybody besides like myself. So it was definitely a weight off of my chest, knowing that everyone here was there to support me, regardless really of what my experiences were. It was a network in which I could feel comfortable and like free, I guess.
Yeah. And then hearing the other voices, how did you receive their voices when they were talking?
Yes, I believe that everyone who spoke they had such powerful words. I definitely cried a lot because a lot of their experiences hit home with me. Um, but also that, and also just because of the sheer bravery it takes, because I know that a lot of people had reached out to me before and after and were like, I never thought I would have been able to do this. And seeing that they did, and also especially the people who had said they had spontaneously spoke. They weren't planning on it, and they did. And having them be like, "I never thought I would have been able to do that," is really, really empowering.
Ugh, I love it. I love it. And afterwards, did you talk to um I don't it's been so soon. It was just happened, but do you have a chance to talk to any of the participants?
Actually, because I'm friends with a lot of them, I mean, I like to be friends with a lot of people. And these people happen to be some of my closest friends, and they all share like the same. We did it, and let's do it again. Like
Yes.
we're already talking about doing another one and
Yes.
talking about mental health, bullying, whatever it is. We want to have another one. I know there's a lot of people that couldn't make it that wanted to listen. They were all disappointed that it wasn't a recorded session, and we want to have another one. So
And
I
I
think they'll
would
message around about this as well, and
oh,
it's gonna
I
happen.
love it. And I hope it'd be great to hear back from the non-Asians to hear about what they learned or anything, because when I was listening to these voices, I've listened to a lot of panels and talked to a lot of Asians, and your voice, the high school voice or the elementary, like that whole space is not represented. And I think people would be surprised that, oh, just name calling, big deal. I was called whatever Sharpie or what, like I think people don't understand the impact. And like if I couldn't say your name, how I just make up a name for you, how that's not honoring you. And people don't understand that. And I think that I learned a lot too. And just hearing from current, like this is current day, this is not 80 years ago. It was so powerful. And I can't wait to hear next week more voices. And I hope it'd be great to hear some teachers and to see some boys speaking up too. I know that's harder to capture, but because I was thinking last night, how could, let's say if I wanted to help run these around the nation, or schools that I went to or something, how could it be a safe space? And like I can't guarantee that, but with your voice and your friends' voices, sharing them in public, but you are not, nobody knows who you are. And I think that that could spur local people if they wanted to volunteer and share. And I just I love that. It makes me so happy in these dark days. I'm so pleased to hear you all speaking. So what's what else is on your agenda? So we're gonna hear as many people. We can do this every week. Like we need your voices out there and to
Awesome.
inspire all these other schools. I talked to two parents in New York about they put together a PTA program for middle school and how to have a fireside chat with Asian parents. And so I want to be sharing that, and we could partner. And so I'm super excited. What are the other ideas that you are brainstorming on in this last 24 hours?
So actually, I founded the Asian Student Union at my school, which is super exciting. And so we have our cohort of leaders. We already have two, because I'm a junior, and so all the other leaders are juniors as well, because they're the closest people to me that I could reach out to. But we already have some underclassmen. Like, we're going to start training them soon to, like, on what I've done this year and what my friends have done this year. And so we're already thinking about the future footsteps. Our next club meeting is actually next week, and we're going to do a collaboration with the Black Student Union,
Yes.
which is really great. And so we're going to do
Yes.
like a Stop Asian Hate, Black Lives Matter, like big combo meeting, and hopefully we get a really big turnout. And we're going to talk about allies and how to be there for each other within these definitely hard times.
I love it. So I listened to a podcast today called Hard Candy and something. So these two girls met each other 30, 40 years ago. One is black, one is white, and they did a program on Stop Asian Hate. And I'm going to interview them, and I'm going to ask them to interview me also. And I think I'm going to start a video series called Why People Are Silent. And then talking about, okay, why are Asians silent? Not all, but why are Asians silent, and talk about the 10 main reasons and cultural, the whole thing. And then black, okay, why are black folks quiet on this issue, the ones that are quiet. And then white, why, and
Yeah.
just kind of keep sharing perspectives on why. So once we can get all these different perspectives, we can start to make some progress. And I would love to see that conversation with your BSU. And then what's the name of your Asian club?
It's just called ASU, Asian Student Union.
Okay. And I'm talking with a college student later on today because I want to fire up all the Asian student unions around the nation. Of course, I like want to do everything, but I want
No,
to
I get it. I get
spur.
it.
Yeah, I want to spur excitement, and then it could be there's a connection between okay, high school, middle school, college, and one of the challenges I want to do next week. I wanted to do it like a month ago, but is Asian Voices Challenge, where we do a 1 minute who we are kind of thing. And for me, hey, I'm Japanese, Chinese, and Swedish. I'm terrible with chopsticks. I don't really do carbs so much. I only speak one language, that's English, and just kind of share. Here's me, and then have hey, you're Korean and black, but you identify as this or whoever, whatever it is. And to get people used to, Asians used to using their voice, and then get into some little bit deeper ones. But
Yeah.
then have everybody else get to know, oh, there's so many voices. Oh my gosh, they're not silent. And we're letting, we're also listening. So I've got a lot of things in store. So I'm excited. I have some hope, Brooke.
Yeah, me too. Trust me. This is all of this happening. You reaching out to me was just, it really warms my heart that even across the country, like there's people that care. And it's not just, it's not just me, it's not just my friends, it's there's people out there that want to make change, and it's really exciting to see things move forward.
Yeah, I appreciate. I think in the Asian circles, I see like I'm so proud of the Asian strangers that I'm meeting. In my white network, there's hardly any movement whatsoever. So it's very depressing and devastating. Um, but I'm just like, if I could get your voice and your other friends' voices out there, just maybe maybe a white influencer is gonna like click and like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was happening and I didn't understand it. I was afraid of it. And now look at these voices, so resilient, and realizing that something as simple as name calling it really had an impact, really,
Yeah.
and to see that words do matter. So oh man, I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So we will talk next week. I appreciate you and your efforts. Keep that momentum going.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
When was the last time you felt like this? Has it been a minute? It is time to mix it up. Climb out on those limbs and jump into life. Life is full of excitement. We just need to get curious, get uncomfortable, and go for it.